let's go ahead and make hot module reload work with our server. Again, just what I was explaining earlier, I would typically leave server-side rendering for production only and have a separate config for dev, right? Oftentimes you're going to end up with two Webpack configs, one for dev and one for production. We're not going to do that today, but that's a normal thing to encounter. But what I want you to do first is I want you to open your Webpack config. And instead of having all of this stuff, we're going to do just one, and it's going to be webpack-hot-middleware/client. And then you're going to say path equals __ webpack_HMR and timeout equals 2000. So instead of orienting Webpack to read from the dev server, we're going to orient it to read from our API server. Or not our API server, just the normal server that we wrote. Okay, so that's all you need to do here. Now I want you to open your server.js. And up here, we're going to do a couple more imports. We're going to say const webpack dev middleware equals require webpack-dev-middleware. This is going to take care of the actual feeding new pieces of code into your module. And then you're also going to need the hot middleware, so webpack hot middleware. And that's equal to require webpack-hot-middleware. Then you also have to bring in Webpack as well. So const Webpack equals require Webpack. And as well, down towards here, you're going to have to read your Webpack config because you're going to have to feed that in as well. So config equals, I guess I can do this up here. Require /webpack webpack.config. Okay, so now I got those. And now what I have to do before public, we're going to say const compiler equals webpack config. So we're instantiating our webpack. Underneath that, we're going to say server.use and then here we're going to say webpack dev middleware. Compiler is the first argument. The second one is an object, and we're going to say public path is config.output.public path. And then underneath that, we're going to say server.use webpack hot middleware, and pass that the config as well. Or no, sorry, the compiler. Okay. So now basically we've set up this same server to do server-side rendering and worry about hot module replacement. So now if I come back here and refresh, you're going to have to stop your server again. So little pro tip here. It's annoying to have to restart and stop your server every single time. So I use a module called Node Daemon. I think we talked about this a little bit earlier in the day. And this is just going to start and stop your server every single time I change something. So notice it says this right here. And then if I come in here and save this again, it's going to say, oh, something changed. I'm going to restart your server again for you. So super useful. That's just something I do. OK, now if I come here and refresh, it's going to take a while because it's going to build on the first time that you make a request to it. And now it works. And it's going to say hot module replacement is connected, and everything's going to work just the way you anticipated. Any questions about that? So again, I'm going to tell you that this is not typically what I would do. I typically reserve server-side rendering just for production, and then I leave the rest of it just like in the dev config because it's a lot less of a problem to mess around with in development. I'll just use the Webpack development server. But if it's important, there are occasions where you'll have problems specifically with server-side rendering. So it's good to take a look at this, but I wouldn't say it's my go-to dev process. But I wanted to show you how, just in case that you wanted to, it is possible. Yeah.
What stops hot module replacement from running outside of development?
The node environment. So if you say node env equals production, hot module replacement disables itself automatically. And actually, I'll show you here just a second with when we get to code splitting. You can actually just come into your config, right, your Webpack config, and say if I'm in development, then add this to the entry, right? If not, then don't add it, right? Because you don't want to send down that hot module reload code unless you're actually in development, right? So you can just mess with this config based on what environment it's being run in. But I'll show you that in just a sec. So what I'm going to push here real quick, another branch, and then I'm going to go back to the dev config because it's going to be a lot easier with the next section if we do it that way.